Every game in existence is really boring on the 50th playthrough, so naturally you're going to want to switch things up a bit. And that's why mods are awesome, because there's nothing that spices up a game quite like feeling the exaggerated swagger of being Mike Ehrmantraut in Left 4 Dead 2. Or adding Angry Birds. Or you could add mods that fix or improve the game if you're boring and lame. But mods are way more important to gaming than I think a lot of people give them credit for. And they can extend the lifetime of a game and even create their own franchises. Or you could just make a shitty FNAF ripoff.
It is a little something for everyone.
Modding started as a kind of niche thing in the 1980s, with the first mod being Castle Smurfenstein, which is actually pretty clever, because the game's name was Castle Wolfenstein and they changed it to Smurf because like the Smurfs are in the game. Whoa. But that doesn't matter anymore, because what really popularized modding was Doom, Quake, and Half-Life. ID Software separated game data into WAD files, which also made maps and assets editable, which led to a lot of mods like Project Brutality, Brutal Doom, Final Doomer, Venom Let There Be Carnage, My House, and a bunch of others, which were basically just different campaigns and levels using Doom as a frame. They were also able to distribute the mods using the brand new Baby Kata internet. A lot of modders for Doom and Quake went on to be hired by Valve to create their cool niche Quake clone, because Gabe Newell saw a lot of potential Megumi in modders that worked in Waffle House. Half-Life also became a game with a ton of mods like 7 Co-op or Echoes, and that allowed Valve to just hire more modders for the studio to make Half-Life 2. If you happen to make a cool Quake mod, Gabe Newell would just break into your house and give you a job. But in 1996, the original Team Fortress was made as a Quake mod, and Valve recognized that this is pretty cool and was able to make one of the most popular shooters. Not only that, Team Fortress was also the start of the hero shooter genre and laid the ground for games like Overwatch, Garden Warfare, and I guess High Guard was there too. And it's not just Team Fortress. Tons of successful games probably wouldn't exist today if it wasn't for modding giving them a start, and in the case of Team Fortress 2, it literally created a genre. And mods haven't just created games, they've also improved games and have kept them alive for so long. Like Left 4 Dead 2 would be Left 4 Dead if it didn't have Steam Workshop support and have the ability to butcher the Teletubbies. It also just adds a lot of replayability to single player games by adding cool features or just making it a better game. The best example of this in my mind is Fallout New Vegas, which is an amazing game in its own right, but it had to be rushed out due to its release date. But this game is so much better with mods that fixes a lot of bugs and new features, or actually adding sprinting, and if you played New Vegas, you know how much of a big deal it is not to sprint. The most confusing thing about this all though is that even though modding has only really seemed to have done good for the industry for the most part, but if you're not Gabe the Babe Newell, you fucking hate mods like Nintendo, Rockstar, Activision, and a bunch of others. Like, I get it, Naked Rosalina mods aren't exactly what you want to be associated with, but like, people are gonna find a way to still make porn, so like, I think Nintendo should be a little bit more accepting instead of taking the skin off of every modder, even despite the fact that they could actually make something cool. Because like I said before, every game is gonna get boring at some point, so might as well let modders do their thing. Skyrim has sold an infinite amount of copies, and part of that reason is because of what the community has done to this game and all the mods, pizzas everywhere. The only type of modding that I see is actually bad is just cheaters, which yeah, negatively affects pretty much everyone, but like I said, why are you banning the cool stuff too then? In conclusion, mods are pretty fun, but they have also changed a lot about gaming in more ways than you would think, and I think a lot of other companies should be as awesome and supportive as Valve, since Valve just gives the tools to people and they don't even have to do shit to keep their games alive. And also the masterpiece known as Hunt Down Freeman came out of it.